Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday service at First Unitarian Church of St. Louis. Hello, my name is Judy Crouch, she, her, hers, and I'm one of the worship assistants. The theme for the month of December has been the gift of mystery. We will continue to explore mystery on this last Sunday of the month, in fact, on this last Sunday of 2023. I'm glad you could join us this Sunday, either in person or online. If you're a visitor or a newcomer, I'd like to extend a special welcome. And if you are new to our congregation, please be sure to fill out a newcomer form, which can be found on the live stream description or downstairs in the lobby. Please stay after the service for conversation and refreshments downstairs in Fellowship Hall. If you are a family with children, you can connect with our Director of Religious Education, Danielle Kozemchik. We are so happy that every one of you is with us today. If you're attending online, you can connect with each other in the chat. The link for virtual coffee hour has not been in the weekly e-news for a while, but we hope to have that up and running in the coming year. We encourage you to take a moment to send your joys and concerns now so that they are received in time for the pastoral prayer. You can access the online joys and concerns form via the link available in your order of service, in the live stream description, with QR codes that are located in the pews, or you can simply aim your smartphone at the QR code up there on the screen. We have two announcements this morning. Since October 7th, there have been many complicated feelings about the war between Israel and Hamas. Acknowledging that many different perspectives inform personal responses to the conflict, First UU is offering conversation circles as a beginning place to start engaging on this topic. Join us in Hope Chapel next Sunday, January 7th, from 11:30 to 12:30. Check the weekly e-news for a sign-up sheet. Our midwinter meeting is almost here. Please join us on Saturday, January 20th at 5:30 p.m. All members and friends of the congregation are encouraged to participate in the annual midwinter meeting. Join friends old and new for a potluck dinner and get an update from the policy board. Childcare will be provided. There is an RSVP on the First U website. Welcome to this religious community where we affirm the dignity and freedom of all who enter. Here we seek to live together in relationship and respect so that we may embrace and celebrate our differences. Our religious values invite us to a shared journey of truth and meaning. Sincerity and connection guide our religious community and call us into deeper association with ourselves and with our world. Welcome. We are glad you are part of our community this morning. Now, please enjoy our prelude on Green Sleeves by Paul Mallons, as performed by our music director, Earl Naylor.
Good morning. My name is Pamela Geppert. I use the pronouns she, her, hers. I serve this congregation as a member of the worship committee. I invite you into worship this morning with the words of Reverend Joan Javier Duval. In this spirit of searching, out of depths unknown, the spark of life ignites, and we are born. We enter a world, a universe not of our making. Our lives unfold in mystery and wonder. Questions abound for which there are no definite answers. And so we gather in community to seek one another's assurance and recognition, compassion and strength. We gather in community to be reminded of what is most ultimate and what is most sacred in this spirit of searching and of reverence. Let us worship together this morning. I invite you to rise as you are willing and able and join in the singing of the hymn of the month, a song about mystery, number 83, Winds Be Still.
The words for today's chalice lighting are provided by Reverend Scott Taylor, and it's entitled, The Wonder All Around Us. Think, friends, of the sky, of the stars that dance like fireworks overhead. Think of the trees, budding or bare, and the rivers in rain, all a part of this living, breathing earth that makes our living and breathing possible. Think too, and look at the faces that surround you. What a wonder it is that we don't have to travel this world alone. All of it is miracle. All of it is mystery. All of it deserves our awe. And so, may this light we now kindle, in this time we now share, illuminate the astonishing preciousness of it all.
Last July, during our summer services, we introduced Reader's Theater to our repertoire. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the term Reader's Theater was first used in the mid-1940s to describe a theatrical production which does not rely on sets, costumes, props, or special lighting. And for that matter, memorization. The July theme was play, and we read a playful mystery play by Reverend Thomas Rhodes, a retired UU minister. With our December theme being mystery, it just seemed natural to present it again, but this time as our story for all ages. A playful mystery play to be read in 4 voices.
Once upon a time,
A long time ago,
A very, very long time ago.
Like before your parents were even born.
there was a mystery.
she was a great mystery.
And nobody understood or appreciated her.
Well, mainly because there wasn't anyone else around to appreciate or understand much of anything.
For a long, long time, nothing happened.
The great mystery waited
And waited.
and waited some more.
Until at last she said,
I'm bored.
and so the mystery set the stars in the heavens,
And planets to circle the stars.
And comets to wander to and fro.
And it was all very beautiful.
but after a couple of billion years of watching, the mystery decided it was still.
Boring!
The mystery was lonely.
She wanted someone to play with.
So she looked among all the stars and planets.
But some of the stars were,
Too hot.
And others were.
Too cool.
and some of the planets were,
Drewberg.
And others were.
Too little.
But finally, she found one that was.
Just right.
The planet was covered with water.
But there were huge chunks of land sticking out.
and even mountains and plains and rivers.
Best of all, there were tiny, tiny creatures called protozoa.
That lived and squirmed in the water.
Come play with me.
The mystery said,
But the protozoa just kept on squirming like they hadn't even heard her
Which isn't surprising.
because they didn't have any ears.
after another couple of billion years of watching the stars and the planets and comets,
And the squirming
The
protozoa.
mystery was bored again.
then the mystery got an idea.
She decided to glue some of the protozoa together with stuff called.
Protoplasm.
Yeah.
When they were stuck together, the protozoa began working together.
They formed eyes and feet and mouths and stomachs.
And ears.
Oh, yeah. So they could see and move around and eat and digest.
And hear her.
But even if the new creatures could hear the mystery, they didn't pay much attention to her.
Instead, they watched each other.
And they moved around and ate and digested each other too.
At least it was more interesting than watching the stars and the planets and the comets.
It was more interesting because as the new creatures watched and moved around and ate and digested,
They changed.
They grew.
They evolved.
and soon there were all kinds of different animals.
In the seas and on the land.
And mountains and rivers.
There were cows that said moo,
And sheep that said, bah.
And 3 singing pigs said, la, la, la.
No. That isn't right. Pigs say oink all day and all night.
Oh. Oink.
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 Thank you.
But the idea of singing pigs got the mystery thinking.
Maybe some of the animals could use their mouths for singing or talking as well as eating.
Now they would make great playmates.
So she waited and watched as the animals continued to evolve.
And sure enough, after another bazillion years, she saw them.
They were really funny looking.
All of their fur was stuck on top of their heads,
And just a few other places on their bodies.
and they walked on just 2 feet.
Instead of all 4, like most of the other creatures.
But best of all, they could talk.
Now they would be much more fun to play with.
The new creatures had problems, though.
The new creatures didn't have any fur, so they were cold much of the time.
They didn't have big teeth or sharp claws, so they had trouble getting food to eat.
So, the mystery gave them some ideas for making fires and growing crops.
And for a while, everything went just great.
The new creatures called themselves humans, which means from the earth.
And for a long time, the humans lived in balance with the other creatures.
The mystery enjoyed watching the humans and giving them new ideas.
But she was always careful to make sure that the humans never saw her or heard her directly.
Because then she wouldn't be a mystery anymore.
The humans were curious, though, and wanted to know more about this mystery.
Was the mystery at all human, like they were?
Was the mystery male or female or something else entirely?
Did the mystery care about them?
Of course I do.
If they prayed hard enough, would the mystery make their crops grow?
Perhaps, but only if you take care of the earth.
Or punish their enemies?
I don't think so. Your enemies want me to punish you, and I won't do that either.
The humans had lots of other questions, too, like,
Where do we come from?
What are we supposed to do with our lives?
Why do people get sick, suffer, and die?
But the mystery was silent about all these things.
she knew that if she spoke to them, the humans would think that she was a god.
And a god, like they wrote about in their ancient books.
But the mystery was greater than any god and far beyond anything that humans could imagine.
She didn't want to terrify the humans.
Besides, it was more interesting this way.
More time passed, and the humans kept evolving.
They gathered themselves together in cities and built roads to connect the cities.
They planted huge fields of crops and built machines to harvest.
And they built other machines for traveling on the roads.
And they took the cows and sheep and pigs and penned them up to use for food.
And they argued a lot about what they were supposed to be doing with their lives.
But the mystery kept quiet, hoping they would figure it out for themselves.
The humans kept building more cities and roads, more fields, and more machines.
Soon the world was filled with humans.
There was no room for the wild animals.
The cows and sheep and pigs got more and more crowded in their pens.
The humans were running out of room, too.
Some thought there was no more room for mystery either.
When the mystery realized that the humans thought they had figured out everything for themselves, she became very sad.
Some of the humans claimed that the mystery was angry, and if everyone didn't do what they said, she would destroy them.
Others said that they didn't need the mystery anymore. They could do fine on their own.
It seemed that the humans were too busy building and arguing to play anymore.
The mystery wanted to say something, but she knew her voice would terrify the humans.
She also believed that they would argue about the meaning of her words.
But they couldn't even agree on what thou shalt not kill or love your enemies meant.
Besides, she knew that simply making the humans do what she wanted would take the fun out of play.
But maybe there was another way.
The mystery knew that the humans wouldn't listen to her no matter how loudly or clearly she spoke.
Maybe instead of telling the humans what to do in a loud voice like thunder, she would use a softer voice, like a whisper.
Maybe instead of speaking to their ears, she should speak to their hearts.
Maybe instead of using words, she should use feelings.
And that's exactly what she did.
And if you listen very closely, you will hear what the mystery is saying to you.
Don't listen with your ears, listen with your heart.
Think about what you feel when you consider this beautiful planet, our home.
Do you feel joy?
Do you feel a sense of wonder?
Do you feel thankful?
Do you feel love?
Each of these things is part of the mystery.
Because each of us is part of the mystery.
When we recognize and act on our feelings of joy, wonder, thanksgiving, and love,
Then the mystery will play with us and through us for a long, long time to come.
amen.
Shalom.
And blessed be.
Good morning. My name is Mike Lunter. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I serve this congregation on your worship committee. Each week, we bring our joys and sorrows and concerns to this community. We do this so that our sorrows and concerns may be carried with the support of others and that our joys may be magnified. Now's the time in our service when we connect with one another by sharing our sorrows and concerns. This week, we send healing thoughts to Nadine Villestra, who is recovering from pneumonia at home. We send our deep sympathy to Gwen Hickman, whose mother died on Christmas Day. And in our community, we feel frustration at someone failing to do what they had promised. We hold these concerns with tenderness and compassion. May they be lighter because they are shared. As a community, we also share our joys with one another. Congratulations to Jane Heckelman on the birth of her 5th grandchild, James Peter Karstensen, who was born on December 20th to son Ted and his wife Shahira. And in our community, someone's mother's birthday is today. And I think that's all we have online. We hold these joys and gladness and celebration. May they be magnified because they are shared. With many joys and concerns remaining unspoken in our hearts and minds, I invite you into a spirit of prayer and mindful attention with these words from Reverend Joan Javier Duval, into greater union with the mysterious. Mother of all, mystery beyond our understanding, here we are, living, breathing creatures with minds that wonder and hearts that feel awe. We face questions that we never know can't be answered, and tragedies that we know can't be explained. May we find patience in all that is unanswered and peace in all that will never be explained. Here we are, living, breathing creatures with open minds and tender hearts. May we hold ourselves with gentleness with all that brings us worry and all that makes our hearts break. May the living, breathing creatures that we are feel the breath of life, moving in us and through all things, bringing us into greater union with the mysterious universe of which we are part. Blessed be, amen.
The First Unitarian Church of St. Louis strives to be a welcoming congregation, inspiring lives of loving kindness and integrity by nurturing spirituality, building community, and advancing justice. Your contributions support the mission and ministry of this congregation. This morning's offering will now be received.
This is a quote from Gilda Radner, one of my favorite comedians. She died at the age of 42 of ovarian cancer. I wanted a perfect ending. Now I've learned the hard way that some poems don't rhyme and some stories don't have a clear beginning, middle, and end. Life is about not knowing, having to change, taking the moment, and making the best of it without knowing what's going to happen next. Delicious ambiguity. Today's offertory music, Let the Mystery Be, by singer-songwriter Iris Dement, speaks of that delicious ambiguity.
Everybody's been wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody's been worried about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say when you're gone forever, and some say you're gonna come back. Some say you'll rest in the arms of the Savior if in sinful ways you lack.
Some say that they're coming back in a garden full of carrots and little sweet peas, but I think I'll let the mystery be.
Everybody's been wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody's been worrying about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be.
Some say they're going to a place called glory, and I ain't saying that ain't a fact. But I heard that I'm on the road to purgatory, and I don't like the sound of that.
I believe in love and I'd give my life accordingly, so I just let the mystery be.
Everybody's been wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody's been worrying about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. I think I'll just let the mystery be.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Adam Lunter. My pronouns are who, me. And for your gifts and for the generosity shown through time, talent, kindness, and love, we are truly thankful. This reading is called How We Belong by UU Minister Reverend Alex Jensen. Unitarian Universalists can and do believe many different things about life's biggest question, about God, the greater mystery, what happens when we die. Though you can't be a Unitarian Universalist if you don't agree about some of the more important parts of this faith. You can't be a UU, or much of a good one, if you cling to prejudice or oppressive views of others. If you in any way believe that somehow someone else is inferior or anything lesser than human. You can't be a UU if you tolerate big questions or critically examine what it is that you believe and why. You can't be a UU if you fundamentally believe there is only one path or one spiritual truth out there to make meaning of life and understand it. If you just cling to one set of beliefs, dogmas, or creeds and shut out the possibilities and offerings of other traditions that are different from your own, you're not Unitarian Universalist. As wide as our welcoming embrace is, there are some things that are non-negotiable for us as people. Those non-negotiables are the inherent worth and dignity of each person, no matter who they are. The rigor of critical thinking about ourselves and our beliefs, and the bounty of the world's traditions that each hold a piece of the cosmic puzzle about how we might understand these wild, wondrous lives of ours. Now, you can't be a Unitarian Universalist and believe anything you want. You can believe in a lot of things. But there are some fundamental things that bring us and bind us together as a tradition and a faith.
Well, first things first. Is a mystery something to be solved? Or is a mystery something to be embraced, feared, revered? Yes, all of the above. Mystery is a sense of uncertainty or ambiguity. Mysteries draw our interest, and we may feel compelled to solve them. Yet some things are unknowable. What then? Let the mystery be? I remember the first time I was introduced to mystery. Not the lowercase m mystery like, why does my brother always get the biggest cookie? Why am I a big girl when mommy wants me to do something and a little girl when I want to do something? How do I keep my bike from falling over long enough for me to get on it? What does mommy do when we stay with Grandma and Grandpa on the weekends and in the summer? I mean the capital M mystery, the big unknowables. I was around 4, and I may have mentioned this before. I had some serious respiratory problems up through that time. So when I stayed with Grandma on those weekends and through the summer, my grandma would bundle up my older brother and my younger sister and sent them out to play in the neighborhood, because you did that back then, if you recall. You just threw them out and said, when the street light comes on, you better get home. Well, I stayed with her in the house, and I learned to read. I read everything. I was 3 or 4, and I was reading all the books that were sitting there, because there was a big rocking chair in the kitchen, and Grandma would work in the kitchen, and I would sit in that rocking chair, and I just had all these books to my, and I didn't, but I still don't know how to ride a bike very well. But I would help her cook, and I learned her recipes, and I helped clean. She had a unfortunate thing about keeping everything clean. But we talked a lot. I'd ask questions. What does, because my grandma was a Roman Catholic, she was a good churchgoer, and she talked about eternity. And I said, well, what does eternity mean? And Grandma would say, well, think of the biggest number you can think of. Now add 1. That's what eternity is like. There's no end if you can keep adding 1. Where are we before we are born? And Grandma would just say to that we were all little fishes in a pool up in heaven. What happened to my dog when it got hit by a car? It went to doggy heaven. Well, where will I go when I die? Well, you'll go to heaven if you're good. I mean, will my dog be there? If it will make you happy, then God will make sure that there is a dog there for you. When was God born? Well, God always is and always will be. I don't understand. Grandma says, well, that's just something you have to believe. That's called faith. Later, there were questions that I would not have ever asked Grandma, because she was very solid in her Catholic faith, and I was not, or still am not, an outwardly rebellious person. But explain this paradox. This was in my head when I was still in school. When I was little, Grandma told me that once you are baptized, You will always belong to the church, no matter what you do or where you go. But in religion class, they tell me that if I don't believe certain things, I'm not part of the church. As an adult, I've come to realize that Grandma's words were meant to comfort and maybe intimidate a little bit, but mostly to let me know that I'd always be loved, that I'd always be part of something that she saw as wonderful. The church, on the other hand, wanted me to know that I needed to follow the rules if I wanted to be loved. As a child, I wanted everything to be explainable. When I felt the fear, the uncertainty, the ambiguity of mystery, I wanted a solution. I wanted comfort. I wanted to know. As an adult, especially here where we talk about the ethics of ambiguity, the both and of human existence, and the vastness of what we cannot, do not know, I am released. I can embrace the unknowable. I can wonder at the vastness of the universe, perhaps universes. I can celebrate the Alpha and grieve the Omega, or vice versa. I can let the mystery be. Now it's time for our closing hymn. And as we end one year and begin the next, there is something that we can probably all hope for. The hymn is number 388, Dona nobis pacem. I always loved Latin. I actually had it all translated when I was a kid. I was a weird child. The translation from the Latin is simple. Give us peace. Peace in the new year is my hope and my prayer. Now, this hymn is a canon, but in a sense, it is a mantra too. May it bring both outward and inner peace. We'll sing the entire song twice. And if you wouldn't mind leading on this side, and I'll start it on that side. We're going to sing it twice, but the first time, we're all just going to sing it together. It is the same words, like a mantra, over and over again, Dona nobis pacem. And after we sing it through the first time, then those on the west side, this is west. Yes, the west side will start singing. I have that problem too. And then after they get to a certain point, I will start the people on the east side starting to sing. And so please rise as you are willing and able to sing number 388, Dona nobis pacem.
Oh
Our closing words come from UU minister Laura Horton Ludwig. Spirit of life and love, light within and without, mystery from which we have all emerged, within which we live and die. Be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and stillness at the center of our being. As people of faith, we seek to live in a spirit of love, a spirit of community, justice, and peace. And yet, in so many corners of the world, both far and near, we see divisiveness and hate. If we look deep within ourselves, perhaps we will even find those shadow energies there too. We struggle to respond to the outer world and in our inner dramas in ways that manifest love. At times, we may fear that love will not be strong enough. At times, we may question whether love really is at the root of all things. In this world, with so much struggle and suffering and discord, we may struggle to hold on to our faith in love, knowing that if all things come from the one source we proclaim, that source must somehow hold hate as well as love, violence as well as peace, evil as well as good. This is the mystery within which we live and die. These are the questions that haunt our days and nights, and yet we are not without hope. Our struggles and our questions testify to our longing for peace, for love. Our very longings are born out of that mystery. We dare to address as spirit of life and love. In the stillness and silence of our own heart, we read the imprint of love, created not by our own will, but planted there for us to discover by what or whom we cannot know, and yet it is there. A clue, a talisman, a beacon, a light within. May it keep hope alive, even as we dwell in mystery. May it guide us all as we seek to act wisely and well. May it help us to be vessels of compassion for one another and for our world. Amen. Please stay for the postlude, and after the postlude, as your final act of worship, please turn and greet your neighbor.